Welcome to the Metal Voice. Today on the show, Heavy Montreal. We're speaking with one of the promoters of Evenco, the group that puts on Heavy Montreal. This is a world-class heavy metal festival in North America, in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Today, my guest, JF Michaud. How's it going, JF?
I'm doing very good. We're really excited. I don't know what temperature it is outside today, but it's warm and summer's coming, and we're just really stoked for summer to show up and festival season to come up. We're really excited for Heavy Montreal this year.
So tell me this, how did Heavy Montreal, when it was conceived, how did it all come about?
Well, the festival started 8 years ago.
Yeah.
The guys that were working booking a lot of the rock shows in Montreal, including Osheaga Festival, kind of wanted to say, hey, let's have a festival a bit like the European festivals where we can have massive rock bands with massive production that show up in Montreal and just melt the face off everybody in front of that's checking out the festival and putting on like a massive show for people to have once a year, an insanely huge festival where you can see all your favorite hard rock metal bands.
And how did that first show? Like, were you worried that no one would show up? You worried it wouldn't take off, it wouldn't catch on?
Montreal is known historically for being a massive rock city.
Yeah.
You know, all the metal bands that come to Montreal for the first time always saying, oh, I hear all these amazing stories about Montreal, Voivodes from Montreal, I hear so many great things, and you know, ever since metal's been created, Montreal has always been a mecca. So we knew when we started working on the festival that it made sense to do it because Montreal was such a big, you know, hard rock metal city.
So, okay, so every year you guys sit down, I'm assuming it's a committee, sits down and thinks, okay, who are we going to get this year, right? How's the process? Does the bands come to you? Do you go to the bands, or is it just a mix of both?
It's a bit of both, and this year is the seventh year that we do the festival, and obviously when we started the festival we kind of had to go present ourselves to artists and to their managers and to their agents and say, hey, this is what we're trying to do in Montreal. But now with the seventh year this year, bands are starting to know what's going on. You know, we had Metallica on the
festival. You have credibility,
last
that's
year.
What it is.
All right. We had Metallica last year. They had a great time, and you know, now more than ever, there's a lot of bands, a lot of agents that are specifically calling us and saying, hey, we keep hearing all over the place about Heavy Montreal. We'd like to play Heavy Montreal.
Okay, so you've had 7 years of Heavy Montreal, and every year it keeps escalating. Better bands, you know, bigger turnouts, you know, more buzz towards the festival. What will be the difference this year opposed to all the other years? Have you done anything different?
I think that when we started working on the lineup for this year, the idea was to build a cool lineup that we thought would kind of go where everybody could find something that they like. One big change that we did this year is we decided to add a third day. Okay. Partly because every year there's more and more interest from bands playing the festival. There's more and more bands that want to play the festival, and we want to be able to have as many as we can. But also because we're aware that, you know, having a 3-day festival is a nice added value for people that are coming in from everywhere in Quebec, in Canada, from America, or that come from Europe. Obviously, when you want to travel, you want to try to see as much as possible.
Right.
That was a thought that we had to say, you know what, if we add a third day, I think it's going to be an added value for people that are traveling from very far away.
I would say that's the goal this year, right?
Yeah.
To increase that international presence of fans, right, to the Heavy Metal Montreal Festival. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I think that the idea from day one was to make Heavy Montreal a destination festival, like
Dokken.
Exactly, like the big European festivals where people travel from all over the world to go see. It's really important for us to have a festival that has a Montreal vibe to it, and that Montreal fans can find something for them. But it's also important for us to try to have a rassembleur festival where people do want to come from all over the place.
So it's one of the craziest things that ever happened at the festival. Like you said, I can't believe that happened.
You know what? It sounds a bit tacky, but last year when Metallica played, there was a big structure behind the stage, which is, well, not in front of the stage, which is the VIP area, where we were looking at the show and we just saw Metallica play in front of 45,000 people, and that was just completely mind-blowing. We were all like standing together, the entire team that worked on the festival. We were kind of looking at each other going, oh my God, we created a monster.
You got something else this year. You have the Blabbermouth Stage.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Okay, Blabbermouth, for everybody who doesn't know, is a news feed for heavy metal. It's like the CNN of heavy metal. So this year, they've got a stage at Heavy Metal Montreal. So tell us about that.
As you're saying, the CNN of metal. That's a really nice way to put it. I'm sure if you told them that, they'd be really grateful as well. Blabbermouth is it's the site that I go to when I want to hear the news of what's happening in metal. Yeah. And they kind of came to us and say, hey, we want to be involved with your festival. We hear all these nice stories. Everybody's saying how you guys are an amazing festival and would like to be involved. And we kind of replied, hey, we've been following your website for years, and we just love what you guys do, and let's try to work together. And so we were able to kind of create a partnership where they're involved with our festival, presenting one of our stage, and in return, we're able to have an amazing voice that is Blabbermouth to share the news of about Heavy Montreal all over the world.
I'm going to read off a couple of names off the Heavy Metal Montreal, and you tell me what you think of these bands.
All right.
These are the bands that are be playing this year. Okay, Slipknot. What comes to your head?
I saw Slipknot the first time at Bell Center. It must have been 10 years ago. Yeah. And I was completely blown away by the drummer. And Slipknot it's I've never been to the opera in New York City to see the Phantom of the Opera, but it's got to have that kind of vibe where it's like watching going to a theater with fireworks, with all sorts of crazy stuff happening. It's like a circus meets the most insane, the most intense metal show. I think it's just a perfect headliner. It's the second time we have them as headliner, and people love it. People love them. Bottom line, we could have them every single year. People would still be happy. And you know what? They released an amazing record this year, which I think could have won the Grammy for the best metal album. All right, I'm thinking Faith No More. To me, when I think Faith No More, I think of Goldfish, Dying Goldfish. What do you think of Faith No More? Faith No More is one of those bands everybody's always asking for every year on our website. People asking for Faith No More. And last year, when we asked them if they wanted to play the festival, they said, you know what? Why don't you guys wait for next year? Next year, there's going to be some action with the band. And sure enough, there's a new record coming up. The first song was released. This new song is really good. I don't know if you had a chance to check it out, but there's a really nice, vibrant buzz around the band. There's a nice comeback. And Faith No More is the first band that we announced on the festival. And as soon as we announced the festival, a lot of the younger fans had never heard of Faith No More, so they were wondering, hey, who's that band you just announced? And then all of a sudden, the older generation was like, you have to check them out. They're legends. So we were really proud to have them on the festival, but I think we were also proud to have them as the first band that we announced on the festival months before the other one, just so that people that never got a chance to listen to them could go check them out. And I'm going to plug Testament. Chuck Billy, who's been on the show, our show, they're playing as well. Testament, phenomenal thrash band, and I know they're working on that new album, so that'll be very exciting. I don't know if you're a Testament fan. I am. I'm assuming they're going to play some new songs, but I like to think that you know what's cool about thrash metal bands is that people kind of show up, they want to hear the new songs, but at the end of the day, they just end up enjoying the entire set. It's basically running around, jumping, and pushing each other around. Yeah. And then you got, for the 80s fans, the hardcore 80s fans, you got WARRANT, you got Dokken, which I'm a big fan of, and of course Lita Ford, right? The original Runaway. This is something that we've been working on for a few years. We noticed 2 years ago we had Steel Panther on the festival. Since I'm sure a lot of you guys know Steel Panther. It's kind of a band that kind of pulls a bit of a joke on the whole 80s hair scene, and the response was so good. And at that point, we're thinking, hey, what if we got more hair metal bands? But like the real deal, the real thing, And that's partly the reason why we got Twisted Sister last year. Yeah. And this year, we're just excited again to bring these bands. There's been an amazing response on LITA Forward, on Dokken, on WARRANT, so far we're really excited.
It's the mateys. And now there's two more. Okay, Mastodon, which is probably one of my favorite bands on this whole list, which I think are legends. They are legends. They're a great band, Mastodon. And of course, we have Iggy Pop. I mean, okay, that's a curveball. That's a complete curveball for everybody in the metal community. The godfather of punk, Iggy Pop. Can you talk about that?
I saw Iggy Pop at Riot Fest in Chicago 2 years ago with the Stooges. Unfortunately, a couple guys in the Stooges have passed away since, but the raw energy of Iggy Pop, it's just something that people have to see once in their life, and we're excited to have him on the festival, and we feel that it's a nice way to go into different branches of the big tree of rock.
So let's get down to business. Where can people buy tickets? What kind of passes are available? What's the website? What's the Facebook? Tell us about that.
All the action is happening on HeavyMontreal.com. Okay. That's our website. It's very pretty. There's a lot of beautiful imageries like the ones on this poster. Basically, if you check out our ticketing page right now, you're going to notice some 3-day passes. And there's also, for people that would really want to live the true experience, there's also 3-day VIP passes. And there's also, if you're coming from out of town and you're looking for a place to stay or some information on the simplest way to get to Montreal, there's also all that information.
Just send you an email. No.
Just go check on the website, I think.
Go to the website. Just go stand down, go to the website.
Or you can call me.
At home.
So on the website there's the information. So far we're selling 3-day passes. Eventually we're probably going to open to 1-day passes as well if there's any passes left. And if you're looking for accommodations or information on how to get to Montreal, all that information is on HeavyMontreal.com.
Well, there you have it. Heavy Montreal. That's HeavyMontreal.com to get all your tickets. August 7th, August 8th, August 9th. Come rain or shine, the festival of the year. Thanks for watching the Metal Boys.